and kind of going. We're gonna go follow that train, and we'll be talking about Thailand again, dude. This is your hood,
On
though.
my hood.
This is your hood, though. But this time, this is gonna be a little bit more well known than Chiang Mai University. This is gonna be an international airport.
Okay.
If you don't know, Thailand's main airport is one of the most haunted airports in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy shit. It's funny. I knew about it for a long time, but never to this extent. Never to actually look it up and do some research on it. When I was younger, we flew to Laos. And we had a layover in Thailand, and my parents were like, "Oh, this place is haunted, blah blah blah."
Okay, Dad.
And they never wanted never wanted to talk about it. And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
elaborate.
Elaborate. You're gonna tell me it's haunted? I want to know what's going on." And now, 10, almost 20 years later, here we are on a podcast talking about Thailand's most haunted airport.
Okay.
Airports are supposed to be places of movement, people arriving, people leaving, thousands of lives pretty much crossing paths just for that one moment, right? But what if some passengers never left? Tonight, we are heading to, honestly, I don't even know how to pronounce it correctly, Suvarnabhumi Airport. Damn, I can't. Maybe too much wine.
Yeah. Don't ask me.
Yeah, but we're headed down to Thailand's main airport, Suvarnabhumi Airport, which is one of the busiest airports in Southeast Asia and possibly one of the most haunted. But before planes ever landed here, the land was known by locals as Cobra Swamp. Because before this area was actually an airport, it was a huge swamp and also supposedly a cemetery.
Yeah,
a lot of cemeteries in the area, right? It was an old burial ground. But when construction started in the early 2000s, workers began reporting a lot of strange things. There are two of the most terrifying encounters that pretty much I thought was pretty good, was pretty common. Of course, there's a lot.
Yeah.
But we only have time for a couple. But this one's pretty common, and this one was, I guess, one of the biggest ones that was an issue, is the woman on the runway. So, and you know nothing.
I know nothing.
Nothing. All right. Yeah. It's the first time hearing about it.
Yeah.
Good. All right, cool. Me too.
Okay.
First time.
I'm Thai.
It's all right.
I'm half Thai.
I told him last time. No, I told him last time. Even with I knew the university was haunted.
Yeah.
I didn't know really any stories about it until I looked it up for the pod that time. But this is all new to me too. But yeah, the woman on the runway for our very first story. Not long after the airport opened, a group of night shift workers were guiding aircraft on the runway. Everything seemed normal. Planes were landing. Lights were flashing. Engines roaring in the distance. You could hear all of that. It's just your stereotypical idea of what the airport sounds like. Right. And suddenly, one of the ground crew, they freeze. As they were doing their duties, he saw a woman just standing directly on the runway. So you know how runways are. Just super long strips.
Yeah.
Getting ready to, having planes go in and out. But then you see just a woman just standing in the middle of the runway.
Right.
Obviously, it made no sense. So they called security, and security came. And here at the Thai airport, security's pretty tight. I don't know if you guys ever been or if you've ever been. But yeah, security's pretty tight there. So there's really no excuse to have
a random
person on the run. Like it's difficult to have a random person on the runway. But they radioed, the worker radioed it in, and security came, and they all turned their lights toward the runway. So the first guy already seen it.
Mm.
Now all these other people are starting to see this woman on the runway.
Okay.
But the weird thing about it is now she's wearing traditional Thai clothing, like what women usually wear. We call sin, right? Or, things like that. You know what it looks like, right?
I know what it looks like, yeah.
So imagine old time clothing, what women wear. She's just in the middle of the runway wearing that.
Okay.
Right. She had long dark hair and just standing there perfectly still, facing the planes. So if this is her, planes are going this way, she's just staring directly at those planes, right?
That's a big safety issue too,
You know how sketch that is?
Yeah.
Be like, oh shit. We're about to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Whoever is about to get in trouble over this bitch, right? But when they get there, they already seen her. More workers seen her. Security's rushing to the runway now, lights on her. And then when they finally get to the spot, they jump out of the car. Guess what?
Gone.
She's gone, fam. She is gone. No footprints, no movement on the cameras, nothing. But the strangest part, I think, came later when some workers began claiming they could still see her. So walking slowly across the runway at night, it's always in the distance and it's always quiet. But every time they would always still see a woman in the distance standing in the runway. Every time.
Is she stopping like operations? Like planes are like, we have to no more.
Yep. They have to stop. They have to send security out there. And now it's a whole like security breach. Right. Like, well, who the hell?
Yeah.
Who let this lady on the runway kind of a deal? But every time they would call people, they would call security. They would look on the cameras. They don't see anything there. But you have workers that you have like the regular workers that are on the strip.
Yeah.
You have security coming at them. They can see him, but when they get to the spot where she's at,
do they see her like disappear in real time in front of their eyes?
There's some stories, yes.
Yeah.
There's people that do say that's what they've seen. In this case, it's at night a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Usually around 2 or 3 a.m. is usually when a lot of these hauntings or these experiences are happening to these workers. So, I mean, imagine security in a car. You have your high beams on. You jump out of the car. Just a split second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have your eyes on her. Split second, you look out. And then she's gone. Right? But the cameras, the whole time, they don't see anything. But everyone can. And that's the problem. So, airport staff eventually became so disturbed by the sightings. Buddhist monks were called to actually come
naturally,
and do this. Naturally.